Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Director Watch, an AwardsWatch podcast that attempts to get inside the mind of cinema's greatest auteurs, explore what drives them. Maybe we go on a few unrelated tangents along the way. I'm Ryan McQuade, the executive editor here at AwardsWatch, and joining me, as always, is my chocolate croissant, my co-host, Jay Ledbetter.
They were finally going to answer the question, is the situation really that complicated?
Jay,
I'm not so sure it is, but
Jay, I don't want you to undersell it. I don't want you to undersell it, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
It's complicated.
I'm not so sure, but we can talk through it.
Oh, you're coming in
it's not that complicated.
You don't think it's that complicated?
Mm-mm.
I don't know.
Fairly straightforward, in my opinion.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's complicated.
Mm.
It says it in the title. But I'm not one to question Nancy, but it seems like you're willing to do so right up at the top of this episode.
Did you know that Nancy never titles her own movies?
Who titles the movies?
Some company.
AI?
Basically. I mean, it's a marketing firm.
That's just, well, I didn't know that. But
isn't that weird?
That's kind of weird.
That's why all the titles are so vague.
Oh, like, well, I mean,
put them in some sort of algorithm, I'm sure.
What about the intern?
Well, that's pretty straightforward. That one's very specific.
What about the holiday?
Well, that's sort of a metaphorical title in some ways, a symbolic as much as it is literal.
The Parent Trap.
Well, that one obviously a remake. I don't think she consulted a marketing firm for that one.
Well, I mean, it was working for Disney.
Like,
what about
something's got to give? Why is that movie called Something's Got to Give?
Well, I mean, something's got to give. Something's got to give,
point.
And that something is Jack. He's got to give. He's got to give in to
bend
her ways. Yeah, exactly.
Being a pawpaw.
Yeah, being sensitive. I mean, what women want, that's pretty straightforward. And it's complicated.
No, what women want is not straightforward. That's sort of a vague, broad title as well.
Yeah, but what do they want? They want to be listened to. The only way to listen to it, I guess,
they want to be stolen from. They want to be plagiarized.
Exactly.
From their brain.
They want to be driven crazy to where they're standing outside your apartment being like, why haven't you called me?
They want to be gaslit.
Well, we're here to talk about It's Complicated, which is the second to last film in our Nancy Meyers movie series.
Hasn't made many.
Hasn't made many, but has made many greats. And our guest today is a friend of the show, longtime friend, just in life, not just the show, but in life. Hasn't been on since Carol, right? Mm-hmm. First series.
That was our first series, yeah.
It's Jay's fault that he hasn't been back on since.
That's true.
He is the host of the best podcast on the planet, and the runner-up is it's Kevin Jacobsen. Kevin, welcome back to Director Watch.
You're making me blush. Jeez.
Well,
thanks for having me back.
You're welcome.
I'm wearing my cozy winter sweater. You know, I got my cup of tea going on. Very ready to talk Nancy with you. I'm feeling a lot less pressure compared to Carol because that's like, very important movie.
This is important.
It's important, but in a different way. A little looser.
Very fun. Very looser. We're going to have a blast because we're going to talk about It's Complicated. We're going to talk about Nancy Meyers. And we're going to talk about a movie with movie stars. We're here to talk about a movie with Meryl. Who doesn't want to talk about it? I have been wanting, a little behind the curtain, I've been wanting to talk with Kevin Jacobsen for years about Meryl Streep. Wow. And we've never had the chance to because I've never been on his show to talk about Meryl Streep. That she's kind of over the last couple of years she hasn't been nominated for any Oscars since we've known each other. She hasn't been nominated for a single Oscar, if I'm not mistaken. And you're just wrapping up your series over there for actress. And so I had to get you on a show with me in order to talk about Meryl Streep. Think about that. That's kind of crazy, don't you think?
Yeah. It's complicated, I would say.
I would say it's complicated, Jay. Yeah. Anyway,
I got to sort of like secondarily talk to him about Meryl.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
How did you get to
the 96 episode talking Marvin's Room? Remember Marvin's Room?
Marvin's Room.
Time.
Because Diane was nominated.
Diane Keaton
was nominated for Marvin's Room.
Speaking of the Nancy universe.
There you go. Right? Oh my God.
Very Nancy core.
I listened to that episode. I have to say, Kevin, and I said this to you before we started, but just congratulations on getting Jay Ledbetter to behave on a podcast, because he
A
never does it
masterclass
here.
of hosting. Unreal.
It's truly like, you deserve a Nobel Peace Prize for it. It was an incredible effort on Kevin's part. It was like, one would say it was complicated, but you stuck the landing.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember he kind of wanted to be on his best behavior, So
Jay, why don't you do that
it
here?
was mutual, I think.
This is sort of like it wouldn't be our show if I was hinged.
Yeah, I
we
mean,
tried that with Malik, and
we still went on tangents. We had an AI generated song from Malik at the end of one episode.
Like, AI generated Malik rap. That's a good point.
Truly,
after Kevin, all the Kevin, after reading like 3 philosophy books,
and they were
then had an AI Terrence Malick rap.
Kevin, did you hear that song?
I did.
Was it on your Spotify rap at the end of the year?
I wish I could have accessed it for that. So
it was great. Shout out Jesse Nussman for giving us truly the most haunting song I've ever heard in my life.
Putting in the work, man.
Putting in the work. Kevin, before we get into It's Complicated and talking about this interesting film, I got to know your thoughts on Nancy and her filmography, what you like about her, maybe what you don't like about her, and what's your favorite Nancy?
Interesting. Well, I'll start there. I actually think at this point, because I've actually rewatched quite a few of them, at this point it might actually be Something's Gotta Give.
Yeah.
I just find it so like oddly relaxing. I don't know why. Just like the color scheme, the vibe, the Diane and Jack repartee, like it works. So
and turtlenecks.
The turtlenecks are popping off in that movie. So yeah. Well, I'll just say for my Nancy relationship, I kind of came by her a little later on. I had certainly seen The Parent Trap when I was younger and, loved Lindsay Lohan's dual performance there. Found it very fun. But her other films, didn't exactly appeal to a young kid growing up necessarily. So, I sort of gained a greater appreciation later on. So, but yeah, I think she's a true auteur, and she doesn't get that credit, partly because the films she makes are comedies and appeal to women and they're seen as fluffy, but there's obviously a real vision there. And I think she sort of channels a lot of those interests that she has with relationships and older women maturing and like finding that personal satisfaction. That, there's a fantasy element to it, but that's for me just part of the charm, honestly. So you don't go to her films for realism. It's like the Streetcar Named Desire quote. Like, I don't want realism, I want magic. And that's kind of what Nancy brings more often than not for me. So, as someone who loves to see a woman self-actualizing, I'm very here for her movies. So yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. I mean, like, you can't not be a fan of Nancy, right? Like, I feel like there's probably some soulless people out there that don't like her films, and
it's hard to just fully be like, I don't even like the experience of watching these movies.
It's like, they're great odes to old Hollywood.
Very meticulously stylized.
Very stylized, very detailed. She's a perfectionist.
And you can feel it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was listening to an interview recently with Jude Law, because we're celebrating Jude Law, I guess, a lot.
He brought back Mr. Napkinhead.
He did. Yes. I saw that video.
He got a star on the Walk
when we
of Fame.
needed him most.
Yeah. Can he run for president, Mr.
I think that was literally the day we recorded our holiday episode.
I think so. And
so we didn't get to talk about it.
I mean, we can't talk about it now. One, Jude Law still looking good, though, buddy. Just let it go. You know what I mean? Just let the hair go.
What does that mean? Like, shave his head all the way?
I think so. He's done it before. He looks good.
I don't think he has to. I think he makes it work.
It looks like there's like two, like, he's got a, I don't know, maybe puts up in there, because it feels like there's two holes that are like, and it looks like he's just going to do like a faux hawk, like a mohawk situation at a certain point. And so, I don't know, just get ahead of it. It's like, just Don't make it complicated. He's making it complicated.
That's a battle he's been fighting for about 15
years. I know, but it feels like it's more gelled and stylized, especially in that video it was. But anyway, Nancy looked. Well, you didn't see Nancy in the video, I guess. She was the
cinematographer.
She was the cinematographer. She was holding the camera. She was directing him, telling him, what to say, what to do. And
likely thing for her to do.
Thing for her to do. Show up there and everything. And then, he did Mr. Napkinhead and it just melted my heart.
And she said, please convince the world to let me make another movie.
Yeah.
And so he brought back Mr. Napkinhead, which I think is probably the best way to convince people.
Yeah, but I don't want it to be a sequel to The Holiday, though.
No, I don't want it to be a sequel to her second worst movie either.
Well, that's just mean. That's just mean, Jay. Kevin, do you like The Holiday?
I do like The Holiday, even though it is absurdly long. I'll say that.
Yeah.
It's
profoundly long.
Profoundly.
Do you have a preference between the storylines? I don't know if you got into that.
Oh, I think the Law Cameron Diaz storyline is the more interesting one. Yeah.
I do prefer that as well.
I do prefer it.
Even just because love the blockbuster scene. Love that scene.
Oh, Jay hates the blockbuster scene. But I bet you like $1 million.
And Dustin Hoffman shows up.
I bet you $1 million though, Kevin, that if Blockbuster was still around, Jay would have had a story about like doing something like that with his wife, and we would have had that on the podcast.
God, I am just imagining
theme. Oh yeah,
doing that to impress a woman, and just like I would crawl into a hole and die.
Have you seen my posters here?
I don't think I would make it out of that store alive.
Want to talk about Tree of Life and Terrence Malick?
Yeah, I'd do the. I would like do Jack Black Lacrimosa like choir.
I'd pay to see that. No, I think the blockbuster scene is charming, and I don't think Black is bad in that movie, Jay.
Charming in the way that it like curses you for the rest of your life.
I mean,
that
like
kind of charm, like a witch's charm.
I think that anyone that loves movies and has a significant other that is not as big into movies knows that they feel as if they are being put on full blast in that moment when Jack Black is doing the most embarrassing thing ever in a charming way. But there is the inverse of that where we have done something stupid like that and our partner has probably been like, please, for the love of God, never be around me ever again. So
it sounds like our differing opinions on that are a little complicated.
See, there you go. We're here to talk about It's Complicated. Meryl Streep, Alec Baldwin, Steve Martin, and a cast of other characters. Kevin, you rewatched this movie. This was not a first-time watch, I assume. Because once you're a fan of Nancy, these movies do not become first-time watches. They become repeats. They become regular
revisits,
viewings, really, or like seriously, like around the holidays, or just like when you need something easy to watch and fun,
cozy. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great word to describe it. Cozy. So your thoughts, Kevin, on It's Complicated?
I have a lot.
Yes. That's what we're here for.
First of all, I mean, the movie is kind of, let's be honest, sort of in its own alien world. So
they all are. Just like, to be fair, Kevin, they all
discovery of this series.
Yeah, it is a full.
Everyone is on Quaaludes. Yeah.
Yes. Having said that, I have a blast with it every time. Honestly, I don't even have to be paying attention. Like I sort of said, with Something's Gotta Give, like I could just sort of let it play in the background and just enjoy the vibes, the dynamics, the clinking glasses, the kitchen. It's like ASMR. So there were points on this rewatch where I did find myself almost zoning out, to be honest, but not in a way that I found it like dull or uninteresting. It was just like very relaxing. And there is something to be said for how she just styles the movie so deliberately to where it truly does feel like a full-on escapist sort of fantasy. And the conflict is like, yeah, it's sort of complicated, but it seems very manageable compared to like whatever you may be going on through in your own life. So it's just like pure rich people problems. And I just think the cast is game, so you kind of forgive it ultimately. Like I love seeing Meryl be silly and loose, but also still delivering like that underlying thing of what's going on in this movie, of how messy and sort of undefinable it can be to, have this relationship with your former spouse, and how there are still lingering feelings there that never really do go away, and not really having the words to describe it but still feeling a certain way about her ex. Like, that messiness, I think, is just really well captured, and the character is well understood, I think, by Meryl. And then Alec Baldwin is sort of doing his Alec Baldwin thing, where you want to hate him, but there's also a little bit of that roguish charm to him that's very like classic screwball comedy in a way. Steve Martin, being the nice guy who's sort of caught in the middle of it all and just being very sweet and earnest. So it's just a good time. I don't think it's one of her best movies necessarily. It has a lot of familiar beats and formulaic moments, and some of the writing is a little clunky maybe at times, but it's just a fun hang, I think, at the end of the day, even if maybe you wouldn't want to hang out with some of these people in real life. I don't know about you, but they seem very like self-involved to the point of like, geez, like, am I gonna get into this whole dynamic here? Like, it's a lot. But
all right, J-Dog, what do you think of It's Complicated?
Yeah, I think my feelings are pretty similar to Kevin's. I will say generally, the biggest problem that I have with this film is the same problem I had with The Holiday, which is that it is ostensibly a comedy and has the rhythms of a comedy, but isn't that funny or have that many jokes, which is sort of what Nancy Meyers movies sort of turned into. There are a couple of really funny set pieces in this movie that do lend themselves to kind of that screwball sensibility that Kevin is talking about, but mostly I just like vibing with this movie. It is a comfy movie. It's cozy. It makes almost no sense. Why does she need a separate kitchen? I don't know.
Okay.
She's got maybe the most beautiful kitchen in every Nancy Meyers movie.
That's the biggest thing about this movie is how deranged it is to think that she wants a dream kitchen. But for all of us, what she has is a dream kitchen.
But it's fully functional. I mean,
does
she just
two
want
ovens
to recreate her industrial kitchen at her house, like at her restaurant?
I just don't know like the logistics of what her house is going to look like now that the kitchen is further away. Like, what is this area going to turn into that is her kitchen? Because her kitchen is literally like right when you walk in, couple of steps over is the dining room table, which is a large dining room table. Based off where that table itself, like let's just say that she's taking this table over to where the measurements were at for what her and Steve Martin were doing, wouldn't add up. Doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't be able to fit her entire family, which is a big family. She has 3 kids, a son-in-law, and she'd probably have to invite Alec Baldwin over, and she's now, in post this film, probably in a relationship with Steve Martin for a while, or if not, somebody else, right? And it just feels like that's going to be a very small table. It feels more cramped as opposed to like this area where it feels more open. And then her bedroom, her bedroom is above her kitchen. Like that to me, that screams fire hazard. I'm sorry, Nancy.
I don't think that matters. What if it was any other room? You can have a bedroom above a kitchen.
I don't know. Like I wouldn't put
is a bedroom any more flammable than
it doesn't seem like it's that far up either. And it like the ceilings, I don't know, just something about the measurements when she's doing it all, it just doesn't add up.
It sounds like you think 2-story houses in general are.
Well, she doesn't have a 2-story
to be set on
She
fire.
doesn't have a 2-story house either, which is weird. Like the rest of her house is a 1-story house.
Yeah. So now this is like basically a guest house, is what it essentially turns into.
Yeah, but it's her
with
bedroom.
A giant kitchen.
It's her kitchen. This area is changing completely. Like, is she only living in that wing anymore?
Nancy's gonna figure it out.
What the hell happens to the rest of this house?
I just wonder what do you do with the plumbing in that area and the gas line and the
again, gas.
There's some tough issues you got to get through, but Nancy and her people will figure it out.
California code and law out there. There's no fucking way that kitchen's getting made. I don't care how good the blueberry scones are. You know what I mean?
Oh, that bad boy's getting made.
Oh yeah, you think she's
kidding me? If she can smoke a joint in front of a cop, she can get past the code.
That's fair.
I do wish we actually could have seen the finished product.
Right?
I'll say that.
That's true.
Nobody will ever ask her this, and I think Nancy would probably just like laugh everybody off as well about like, well, it's just a movie, and it's like, no,
very important.
It's very important because
even Nancy Meyers movies have a budget.
Yeah, I guess
barely.
So. Do they?
But,
do they? Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess for the non-existent movies she was going to make at Netflix, they do have a budget. I agree with you guys, but I'm a little bit more positive on it than y'all. I think this is like Kevin and like you said, Jay. It's a very vibes movie. So, but more so than The Holiday. Like, I don't think The Holiday. We talked about it on that show. That feels more like a romantic drama at times. This does
has
have
weight to it. This is so slight.
This is it's a very silly. It's very screwbally. It's very light. It is
pretty plotless too.
Yeah. Well, I mean it. Yeah. I mean it's just what
it's
if
a hangout.
It's a hangout movie, which is totally fine. And these characters are very well established within their own world, even though this world is set in a reality that doesn't exist. And I mean, like she owns this restaurant, but then she owns like this millionaire house, and I don't know. I like that.
I'm guessing that was divorce money.
I'm guessing so because for the love of God, I don't know. I don't know how well and successful bakeries in the Southern California area work, but you know,
it's basically like an elevated Panera bread.
Well, yeah, it's like
Panera.
I guess so, but like you would think she'd have multiple locations, right?
I don't think that is ever implied.
No, but I know it's not implied. But you think if she can live still in a house like that and make the renovations she can make and do all the things that she does, and groceries are not cheap either. But unless she's taking, because she makes like 3 pies for when she has her friends over and she's making these meals. Like she's making food. When does she have time to sleep? This is a really good question to ask Meryl Streep. Character, when do you have time to sleep? Because she's making like
she doesn't work at the restaurant very
much. She doesn't work there at all.
No,
it seems
she's
like
always just taken off.
No, but she does have ideas, I guess, for the menu and how to change things up. So I mean, it is hers, but not really hers. Does that make sense? Like she's the head idea person.
She's the face. Yeah.
She's the CEO now. Yeah.
Yeah, but she probably at one point built it up from something small to this giant machine that it is now in an institution,
moderately sized machine
in this area, like a staple in this area, right? And now I guess she, with all the rest of her time, is making dozens of dishes for her friends because she's got all the time in the world. But yet she can't figure out her calendar either.
Her overqualified cast of friends.
Yes.
Oh
like just an insane group of actresses that just show up for 2 scenes to drink wine and eat food. You're like, that's
and you wonder why the budgets on these movies get a little inflated.
Honestly, the best, like probably Rita Wilson just gets like the call. Mary Kay plays, and was it Alexandra Whitworth, right? Allie Whitworth, and they're just like, you know what? What do you want us to do? Drink wine? Tell her don't be with Alec Baldwin and eat some pie? Sure. I'll show up. Can we make this
collect that paycheck?
Can we extend this for 3 months? How do we do that? Right. But no, I think it's really fun. I think Meryl's having the time of her life. Once again, just Nancy knowing how to work with movie stars, centering this around her. You feel for Jane. I feel for Jane a lot through this movie too, like especially early on where she's in the house and she's very alone and going through this. But I don't know. It's just something about watching Meryl have a lot of fun. Which, I mean, she has made a ton of Meryl Streep movies that are not as fun or I've bought into the characters nearly as much as I did here. And I think Baldwin and Martin, like Martin's more like just playing like the goofball. Baldwin's pretty good in this. I think he's pretty good. And
he's going big, and he is maybe the worst man ever featured in a Nancy Meyers movie, in my opinion.
The worst?
I think he is an absolute monster.
Series.
Do you think he's worse than Nick Marshall?
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
But he's so central to the movie though.
No, he is. Well, I mean, but Nick Marshall is literally the lead of that film too, Jay. So no, but I get what you're saying. Like he is. Well, I mean, he is a man in a Nancy movies, and men in Nancy movies usually don't end up to be very.
Well, usually they're about growth.
Yeah,
he doesn't grow at all.
No, I think
he's punished.
No, he's punished for, and good for him to be punished for that. Like for Nancy to write it like that, because I think by the end of the film, like there could be like a way for him to get out of this, but the complications of like, so he cheated on her with this girl with Lake Bell, right?
Yeah,
and then Lake Bell and him were together. And then Lake Bell goes off with a younger guy, gets pregnant, and then he has to take care of the child that's not his and also have a child with Lake Bell as well. Like that is from a like write that on a napkin and put that in your screenplay, the kind of like just get the yarn out and thread that all together. It's crazy. But yet, what is really well done throughout the film is, the central idea of that these two were formerly married and now they're having this affair and the complications, but yet also the lived-in relationship that Streep and Baldwin have from their past history as being married. I find that to be like really good. Like that scene where she's in the bathtub, he's eating the ice cream. God, that feels so much like Grant and Hepburn and old school Hollywood. And it finds ways that like even some of these characters are the worst fucking people on the planet, or when they go to the hotel and you see John Krasinski, who's hilarious at like seeing the doctor and seeing them go upstairs
he's
and
doing
having
gym face.
Yeah, he's doing a little bit of gym face, but
he's been training in the office for years.
But he's perfectly like she knows exactly who she's getting to get the audience's sort of reaction and for those scenes to work. So I have a lot of fun with this movie. I think it's a good fun time, even if it is like most Nancy movies. We're gonna pick this thing apart, and it's just gonna be some really silly shit that goes along with it. So
I was also gonna say, speaking to the, John Krasinski doing gym, I feel like Alec Baldwin's doing major Jack Donaghy here.
Oh yeah,
because that's exactly when this era was, and this is just like a half step from that.
Well, he's doing great right now.
Yeah,
him, Baldwin. You're saying now, 2024?
Yeah, nothing's
been better.
Never been better, right, Jay?
I don't know what I haven't really been keeping up with the gossip. But,
you haven't Googled him recently?
No.
No.
Just been watching reruns. 30 Rock. It was weird that he wasn't in Beetlejuice. Found that odd.
Yeah.
But, don't know if there was any particular reason for that.
No, I think that they said that, well, and Gina Davis too. It's not just single out Alec Baldwin there. Rude.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about Alec Baldwin.
Well, yeah, but
that's why I brought him up.
But they were a couple in that. It was a tandem.
I know, but we weren't talking about Gina Davis.
But yeah, but you brought up Beetlejuice. Then that brings up the fact that why would only one of those characters and not the other one be brought up? They're a married couple in that film. Anyway, this has been a podcast about Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice. I think Burton explained that he said that like they found a loophole and were able to. It's.
I mean, basically
they just didn't want to bring them back.
Yeah, it's totally not out of the realm of possibility that they wouldn't be in the sequel.
I thought they were supposed to be like ageless because they're ghosts and like preserved in that one point in time in the 80s.
Baldwin had too much croque monsieur and was he just didn't want to sign up for that one. You know what I mean? I guess Gina Davis is probably available though, right? What is she doing right now?
She was in Blink twice this year.
She was
much.
Blink twice.
The Zoe Kravitz directed movie with.
Oh God, I forgot about that thing.
Movie's like almost.
Wasn't that called Pussy Island at one point?
It was indeed.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, Kevin.
Careful.
Welcome to this show.
Normally not that kind of show, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying it was called Pussy Island. That's what it was called.
Right. If you say it 3 times, like Beetlejuice.
What happens?
What happens, Jay? Yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna say it.
That movie, Zoe Kravitz, I think, is a talented director, but needed a better script.
Do you think she's got a visual eye?
Style.
She's got style. It just looked like, what was that one movie with Janelle Monáe? Where it was like, was it?
Oh my God. Are you talking about the one where they do like a slave simulator?
Yeah.
Antebellum? Yep. Yeah. Oh my God.
Just
that
basically
is one of the most misguided movies.
But this is what don't blink kind, right? Don't blink.
Blink twice.
Or blink twice. Yeah, don't blink, same thing. Don't go. That's what you should do. And they are all now part of the rip-off Jordan Peele Get Out universe.
Yeah, for sure.
That is starting to become the most influential film, one of the most influential films of the last like 10, 15 years probably is Get Out. Because we're going to just see tons more social commentary, huge stylized. You have an actor literally behind the camera. Thriller, horror film. And they're just not
Trauma.
good. Trauma.
Yeah.
Trauma. Yes. But yeah, no, I think Baldwin, yeah, he's a psychopath in this movie. But he's also charming as hell. I can't describe it. Like every time he walks up to the screen, you're like, God, I'm supposed to hate this guy, but he's gonna make this plot go forward, and he's gonna say something as like a lawyer and kind of twist everything
so much
around.
Of the stuff he says is just vile. It is like awful.
Yeah. But also, can we talk about the scene where he like creeps up and goes to spy on Jane with Adam?
That's good.
And is just like creeping around like you can picture like serial killer music in an alternate cut. Very terrifying.
It's so crazy too about that as well, because that scene is, I mean, it's just played for pure silliness and comedy, and
yeah.
But if you watch the trailer for this movie, it feels like Steve Martin is supposed to be like the wedge that is driven between them and causing this riff and everything, and then she has to choose between the two of them. But clearly, as you're watching the film, she's kind of into the idea of being back with Jake, being back with Baldwin. She fully invests into the hotel. She has the therapist. She has her friends tell her to do this. She makes the dinner, which, gotta say, the cake looked incredible. That, the chicken looked extraordinary. That's like the greatest looking chicken I've ever seen on screen, probably in my life, honestly. And
Chicken Run.
But I was thinking about the logistics of like her kids are coming the next day. She doesn't clean up anything outside. So there's a place set for two. She'd have to wake up early after this long night of him not showing up. She'd have to put up everything super quickly, probably. And then, like the scene where she's like, this is dead. Like these kids.
These kids are coping with this 12-year-old divorce.
These children.
We're going to have to talk about these children. Yeah, we'll talk about these children in 1 second. But the kids are like, this is Dad's favorite dish. And it's like, yeah. And are you morons not like putting this together? And it's the only one that puts it together is Krasinski's character, Harley. And he's just like drinking like tons and tons of wine.
Drinking everybody's wine. That's pretty funny.
That's a pretty good scene.
And anybody else drinking? Just me? Okay.
No, the great part of that is when Baldwin's like, hey, can I talk with you just for a second, Jane? And Streep's about to walk over with the knife while she's cutting the chicken, and she's got it in, and he takes the knife from her. It's a good.
Krasinski's good.
It's good in this movie.
Excuse me, the visionary director John Krasinski is good in this.
Wait, have they put the visionary staple on him in the trailers already?
Yeah,
No, they did not put.
Yeah,
the visionaries on from the visionary director.
From the visionary director of A Quiet Place or something like that. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
How many?
My favorite spin on that is like Renegade Auteur. I think that's what they did with Jacques Audiard for Amelia Perez.
They did that for Amelia Perez?
Yeah.
I mean, that's honestly kind of honest. Jay, you still haven't seen Amelia Perez.
No, haven't met Amelia yet.
This is the only opinion, Kevin, that I want to hear about Amelia Perez going forward. I need to know what my co-host here thinks.
Setting just has to be perfect. And
I've been, ever since I've seen it, I'm like, I gotta know what Jay thinks about this thing, because there's no way. I think I'm gonna put my cards on the table.
I'm gonna
There's
love
just
it.
no way that you're gonna like this movie. There's no way. I think you're going to be so angry
What
that you
about
watched.
the vaginoplasty song? Come on.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe. Yeah.
That has been slightly spoiled for me,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
That's a bummer.
Well, it has been out for a month. Technically, this is on you at this point.
Yeah, I know. And
Yeah.
I should have stayed off Twitter, which is always good advice. But
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. X.
X.
These children, let's go back to them real quick. They fucking suck. These are like these kids are the most spoiled,
They're pathetic.
entitled pieces of shit you've ever seen in your life. Like, I mean, all
I'm
they,
letting that fly today.
Them. I truly am.
like what it
Major arrested development happening for all three of
Really?
them.
How about when they're all sitting in the bed together?
oh my
That's
god.
tough.
Humiliating.
That's
God, it's like three
That's about as
Labradors.
bad as it gets.
Yeah. And then like Krasinski's like, here's what I think about the scene before she shows up, like all the stuff before. What's Krasinski's character doing to help the situation? Because he's like, glad you're here, boss. And it's like, well, what the hell have you been doing? Because it clearly kind of feels like you'd be in the bed with them, you know? Like it's heavily implied throughout the entire time of the runtime that he's basically just a fourth extension of this trio of kids that just like have never grown up.
Yeah, this was the second time I'd seen it, and early on I was like, he's not like their brother, right?
Yeah.
No, he is not.
It felt weirdly like the vibes of like the kids from like Lindsay Lohan's characters getting manifested into three other children, and yet they're all in like their 20s and they never grew up from the fact that like divorce is a real thing that happens in America, and they felt so betrayed. And what's so funny is you see everybody supportive of Jane, right? And her to go on this weird journey.
Mhm.
And the most critical are these three kids of hers. It's like, screw y'all, man. Like, she can do whatever the hell she wants. You're the ones asking for a credit card to do unlimited shit in New York.
That was funny. Anything I can help with?
Yeah,
You
the
could.
credit
Give me your
card.
credit card.
And it's like, all right, and a hello to you too, you know. But
I'm building a kitchen. I don't have that kind of.
yeah, I don't have New York party money, and I'm not even invited. Like,
I'm
what
building the
fuck?
kitchen from the bear in my house. I don't have that kind of money.
Literally, Jeremy Allen White is at my house right now. No,
They also
Kevin.
seem like very overly affectionate with each other. In
Agreed.
A way. It's just a lot for me.
Yeah, they're like sleeping in the same bed. They
all
got
have
the
this
same
like very
PJs.
specific color of hair. It's like it's a
Yeah.
little like they're programmed or something.
Man, like the
Yes.
whole like the whole like when Alec Baldwin's crying and mom, and they all start crying there too, and it's just like, he's
Yeah.
Nancy. Like, it's are these
It's
human
just like
beings?
they're
Are they
all
robot?
consumed by her?
Oh, I
It's
know,
just
but
like this very mom fantasy.
they
It's
feel
just
like
all the kids are so concerned with the relationship status of their mom.
but it's also like, it's weird because why would you want your parents to get back together if you truly love your mom and you know that your dad's been with this woman who destroyed your family dynamic
With a scary tattoo.
with us? Very
Terrifying.
scary tattoo.
Sends chills down my spine.
There you go. It just, I don't understand. Like, oh, you see them dance one time at a party, and it's so weird.
It is pretty electric, though.
They have been what? They have been divorced for 10 years.
Yeah.
10 or 12. Yeah.
So you think they'd move on from it?
Yeah, like the oldest one has to be like pushing 30 by now.
The oldest one has to be the voice of reason and being like,
Yeah,
I get
or
y'all.
just like any dynamic between the three of them to be different somehow. Because it's genuinely like, I know, again, I don't want realism, but like the fact that they all seem to have the exact same perspective on this is wild.
No, the one that's acting like within reason of like, this is kind of lunacy, but it's also like they're adults and they can do whatever they want to is Krasinski, where he's like, I don't want to know. I don't need to know. Just like, just make sure you're okay. But like, he's because like if they would have if the roles had been reversed and the daughter had seen their parents go up there, she'd probably jump up and down and go up on that elevator and sit in there and watch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she'd be so happy for her parents at that moment. Like, it's this, they have this weird bond between all three of them that it's kind of creepy. Yeah.
It's very kissing family from SNL for me. If you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. The vocal checks. It's very vocal checks. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Kevin.
But that Krasinski scene is the best scene in the movie, in my opinion. At the hotel. I think that's the best scene in the movie.
I think the party scene's the best scene in the film. Honestly, the lead up with her being stoned and in the car and everything. Yeah,
that's the one time Steve Martin gets to be funny.
And he's great. God, he's so good at that.
Thank God, because he's so like wasted.
He's kind of puppy dog too. It's like a wounded dog.
The problem with his character, he's charming in this very bland way. He's never gets any characterization. The only thing you know about him is what he's not, which is Jake. He never has anything that he's like actively defined by.
Well, I mean,
he's a nice guy.
Well, he's a nice guy, and he can see into her soul. By soul, I mean design a kitchen to her exact needs and wants and details. But he's also just like, he's divorced and he's a nice guy.
He's a little puppy dog.
He wants to take her to the French Film Festival and
hell yeah,
you know, and make croissants with her. Like, God damn it, Jay! Like, that's okay. That's okay
girl at
too.
His office was stoked about getting this.
Yeah. Can you imagine about the husband that cuts home and he's like, "Hi, honey, how are you?" Like, I was thinking we go out for dinner tonight. And she goes, "Oh, I got these tickets to the French Film Festival," and be like, "The fuck is that?" Like, I don't want to do that. Like, you think everybody in that area of California is like, the hottest ticket tonight? French Film Festival.
Another one of those like alternate dimension moments.
I just want, I want another shot of
hottest ticket in town.
Yeah, it's like the French Film Festival. Which films are playing is a good question. Like
French.
Yeah, I know, but like,
doesn't matter.
Which French films?
All they have to be is French. Yeah,
that could be dangerous. You do understand?
It could be Claire Denis. It could be Jacques Tati. Who knows?
Oh yeah. Oh man, that would be really.
Possibilities are endless.
Yeah. It's probably just Amelia Perez on repeat. You know, actually, it would have been great if like they're like, surprise, it's Titan, and like Meryl Streep and Steve Martin watching. I know that didn't come out at the time, but I just kind of imagined it like if it was updated now. But yeah, no, but the food in this movie though is incredible. Like I will say that it's the one. See, every time this movie does something really stupid, then I'm like, oh, the food does look really good. Though, I mean, because she starts having sex with Alec Baldwin, she can make like 3 pies for her friends, like nobody's business. Like, that's like good for her. Like, what was she making before? 1? Like, I mean,
she's making like a batch of brownies before. Now she can do three whole pies.
She could make weed brownies with Steve Martin. That would be.
I would be pretty mad if I was Jake that she used the joint with Adam as well.
I would also be mad at Jake too if he had an affair with Lake Bell 10 years ago. So we'll call it.
Now she's the other woman.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. And we don't really get to explore like she is played off to just be a bitch.
Yeah,
throughout this entire time.
Too. Like this is very uncharitable too.
Yeah,
that
she
whole
is
character
exceptionally tan in this.
Yeah, I mean
and
she
is
is.
Hard abs.
I mean for real, she is basically used as like she is a female object. All she wants is a kid from Jake, even though she already has a kid. There's no explanation as to why she wants to have a child with Jake whatsoever. And her son is pretty funny in the film. Like, you know, what are you doing in the?
No, he is like Damien from The Omen.
Yeah. What are you doing in the bathroom? Like, you know, why were you in the shower? It's like, you know, he's Haley Joel Osment for The Sixth Sense. He like knows what's going on in there.
One of the weirdest lines in the movie is when she reveals that she's having the affair to her little wine buddies, and she's like, "I'm sleeping with Agnes Adler's husband." Why is that the way you describe him?
Because it's the truth.
Because it is directly revenge on her. Because I don't think I don't think that was ever the motivation.
I don't think so either. I don't think
it was an act of revenge. at all.
No, I think it's. I mean, Kevin, do you think it's an act of revenge?
I think it's a side effect of what she's doing. It's just, oh, I also get to have a little bit of like, ha, I did it to you, just like you did it to me. Plus, there's that whole thing about how like, oh, should I like feel bad for Agnes now? And her friends are like, no, we're still on your side. It's fine. Which is
They're stoked for her.
Yeah.
No, they are living through her. I mean, like literally, like,
yeah.
Isn't Mary Kay Place's husband's dead? Right, and they make a joke about that at the table.
Yeah, and she's like, "Thank God."
She's like, "Thank God he's dead." Oh, my bed's never been colder. It's like that's how Diane got made. Right, it's just an extension of Diane. Yeah, I love that movie. By the way,
good movie.
Great
movie.
That's
a damn good movie. She's great.
More Mary Kay Place vehicles. Please.
Still, my favorite joke at Indie Spirits was a couple of years ago when Aubrey Plaza hosted. Jay, did you see that one where she was like, I think it was it was 2019, I think. And Jennifer Lopez was nominated for Hustlers, and like, Jennifer Lopez is here. She also just did the Super Bowl. What the fuck have you done, you lazy piece of shit, Mary Kay Place? You know what I mean? It was so well done. And then it just pans over and she's like, what the fuck did I do? But no, it's just really funny how they're all 10 years later, because we see that first dinner, still talking about like what happened to her. It's like, I would at a certain point, listen, guys, I love you both. But if you kept going on and on about your divorce from 10 years ago, I'd be like, we got to get new topics. Like, we're going to put some in a hat and we're gonna just pick categories out for this dinner tonight.
It's sort of like everything in everyone's lives revolve around the events of this movie.
It revolves around her because she's, I don't know. It's like, well, she makes the meals, so she picks the topics. Like, she's not asking about that. Like,
no, but they're all obsessed with it too.
No, they are. They are like fully invested. Like they want her to keep going, and they're like telling her, "Oh, it's not wrong. It's it's not terrible at all. Just keep doing it." Like and fuck Lake Bell, like and that kid and everybody else involved. Like, who gives a shit?
Agnes never gets like one dimension.
She kind of no. I mean, like, you see her at the party, and she's like, she puts it together before everybody else does as well too. She's like, yeah, there's something going on there, and I'm the odd person out, and I don't feel sorry for her, but then I kind of do it from a writing standpoint, I guess. But Lake Bill's good. Her and Steve Martin should be in a movie together. They look like they were having fun for that one scene where they're dancing.
Yeah, they were dancing around.
They were dancing. They were having a good time. But no, I mean, like, do you want to know the most demented shot in the film? And I think that this is more demented than the line that you said, Jay, is when they're smoking pot in the bathroom and it's Baldwin smoking the joint into Krasinski's mouth.
Krasinski's mouth.
Yes.
Every time I watch, I go, whose fucking idea was that? That is wild.
Like
it felt like it. I mean, it is. And she, good for Nancy keeping it in, but like, holy fuck. I don't know what you guys
was
thought.
it good for Nancy for keeping it in?
I don't know, because we're talking about it now. It's wild.
Again, it is just a batch of aliens that populate this movie. So
I guess it makes sense. Fucking father-in-law you're doing that with. It's wild. It's just thinking of the logistics of that. Like, and also, like, nobody can smell.
Like, Harley's in a bad headspace. He's in like reckless mode because he just doesn't know how to react to any of this.
I don't know. I feel like they're fine. I feel like he's probably got a really good job, and she's got a really good job.
Yeah, but I will say, having this knowledge and knowing that you have to keep it from your fiance and her siblings, that's a heavy load to bear.
I mean, like, Harley is. Yeah, I mean, that is true.
And he seems a little bit like he's about to let loose. I mean, he
needs to take the edge off.
Anxiety. Yeah.
Take the edge off a little bit in the guest bathroom. You know? So, that's true. All right. Anything else you guys
I
thought
would
of
like to
mention?
bring this up.
Okay, Jay.
When he has the heart, is it what does he have when they're hooking up? It's not a heart attack. It's like a
It's a
Uh,
heart attack.
panic attack
Seems
or
like it.
something, like a very mild heart attack or something going on. He says he's been taking Flomax, and if he didn't, he would be peeing 40 times a day. Doesn't Flomax do the exact opposite of that? Isn't
I
Flomax about increasing regularity? I think it is. But the best line in the movie is when Meryl says, "I prefer a lot of semen." That's the best line in the movie.
I always have.
I always have. The doctor's reaction, like, okay, I never heard that one before. But then they're like in there. Oh, I do love that scene though. Like before, obviously that, which is like it almost feels like him having just chest pains, I guess you could say, Jay. Or heart palpitations.
Well, he collapses to the floor like Jack Nicholson and something.
He just has he just blacks out. That's what I was going to say. It's something's got to give at that point. But then, like, I don't know. There's something about like seeing Meryl in the robe and just she's just a goddamn movie star.
They're doing the scene from what's it called? The Clooney Jennifer Lopez movie.
Oh, from Out of Sight?
Yeah, they're doing that.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. The
Except
AARP version of Out of Sight.
Just like looking at each other, like laughing at how hot they both are.
Yeah,
and in this one, it's like this real moment of overcoming a challenge.
Yeah, and
which is actually a mildly powerful thing to show.
Well, yeah, I mean, and also, it's very much her giving herself over to this idea, and everything. And then, after the doctor leaves, it's just the shot of them in bed. That's what I think their kids want to see. Is that
they probably would like to see that?
I bet that's what I'm saying. She would come up, she'd come up, little freaks. But but no, it's that comfortability of what they used to have, and it's what they come back to later and realize it's like, no, we had something and it's gone now, and we could try to recreate it, but it's just not the same, and that's why it kind of ends real quickly in the room there too, as well, and why it falls apart very quickly when he can't get away from Lake Bell. It's like every time they take a step forward, 2 steps of reality of why they got to this position in the first place come back. And that's where I think Nancy is very honest, and it's within the central dynamic between Jake and Jane throughout the film. So,
you guys think Steve Martin is good in this?
I think he's asked to do a very thankless task, which is just be a charming guy. And I think he pulls it off.
I think he's just very sweet and fulfilling the role of the nice guy, which is all that's really asked of him, unfortunately, other than the pot scene.
Well, him playing the straight man, it's very unlike Steve Martin, because he's very funny and very zany. And
I would like to actually propose alternate casting here and put in Martin Short in place of Alec Baldwin, knowing what we know now.
Interesting.
Knowing what we know now. Not just about Baldwin,
Steve Martin, Meryl Streep. Yeah.
A Short Martin. I mean, they're best buddies.
Well, I mean, Martin probably did this also because he loved. Well, one, he loved working with Nancy and Charles on the Father of the Bride films, and
then bring back Martin Short also in those movies.
Yes, exactly. To Kevin's point, which is perfect. But in those movies, George Banks is very neurotic and over the top, and he's a worry wart. He's very much almost like a Woody Allen architectural sort of character in that. Like, why do we have to pay this for the wedding? And this. And literally Diane Keaton's his wife in those movies too. And in this, he's playing the complete opposite, just the most happy-go-lucky, Labrador retriever sort of character, where he's still kind of getting over his divorce as well too, and he's just looking for a fun time, and they can sort of provide that to one another, even though you really don't know and learn anything about it, and that's okay. Like, that's what a relationship kind of is supposed to be. And that's why like Meryl and him work together in those scenes. It's like, well, give them the time to do it. You know what I mean? They don't have to have the baggage of their past to do it. But I love the scene. I love both of the scenes where they're in the kitchen and she's making the croque monsieur and they're having the wine and take out the Baldwin peeping, and it's a really good scene. And then I do like the chocolate croissant, scene at the bakery together.
Yeah.
It's
total food porn moment.
Such a food porn moment for Nancy, but it's also like it's charming, and I buy every minute of it because Martin's just kind of willing to go with it, and Streep is fucking great, and so and they have good chemistry together. And then then just a decade later they're working together on Only Murders, and she finds her new love with Martin Short, right? They're together, right?
Confirmed, unconfirmed, yeah.
I mean, they're pretty much together, right?
Yeah.
Which also good for Meryl. Like,
absolutely.
Because Steve Martin's a very nice man. Like he's a very funny guy. And again, it goes back, it kind of, to Kevin's point, it feels very timely because she was in a relationship with a guy, with her husband for so many years, and Mr. Gummer, and he always had like a sour face at the Oscars.
Wait, are you saying this is happening in real life?
It feels a little bit like it is, where she's out of her marriage and everything, and now, and Jay, she's with Martin Short right now.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. And Martin Short's just, I mean, obviously a very funny man and super nice, and yeah, exactly. And she's just having the time of her life, and I bet you he's just spoiling her like nobody's business, and he's the happiest man in the world because he's with Meryl Streep.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah, and you know who gets to like sit front row to all that love?
Selena Gomez.
Yes, and Steve Martin, but yes, Selena Gomez as well. Yes, future Oscar nominee Selena Gomez.
Probably not.
We have brought up Amelia Perez a lot on this episode. Way more than I expected.
It's the topic du jour right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's talking about it.
About Amelia. Everybody's talking about Amelia.
By now, it'll be well on its way to a Best Picture win.
Yeah. Kevin, you love Amelia, right?
It's complicated.
There you go.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
Isn't the first thing that Jake says to Jane when they...
Let's go to a musical.
For the first time. Doesn't he say home sweet home?
Yes.
And
that is one of the worst things anyone has ever said in a movie.
Yeah. I retched in that moment.
To be fair, that's what Jay wanted to originally call this podcast, and I vetoed it. So yeah, it was really awkward when
I think Baldwin is very good. You talk about Steve Martin being really good at what he's asked to do. And I guess I mostly agree. I just think what he's asked to do is so boring. Baldwin is, I mean, he's basically doing the Jack Donaghy thing, but he's bringing it, and he's really good at that. I think he's.
I thought you were about to say something along the lines of like Alec Baldwin's good at being a slime ball, and I'm like, not really acting there.
I mean, he is.
Yeah. Like that's the thing about Baldwin. He is good, and he's got a good presence, and he is a good actor. It's just I mean, it's
always been difficult to work with.
Yeah, exactly. And
he's gotten especially difficult to work with now.
Very old Hollywood in that way. Slightly difficult to work with, but also damn professional when he needs to be.
No, and that's the thing. It's like he has survived like multiple scandals and controversies over his career, and now like
he's had peaks and valleys for sure.
Well, like that's the thing is before
I would say he's in a valley right now.
Everything with the you fucking think. Controversial take, Jay. Before the whole thing with Rust, I mean, like he was basically on Saturday Night Live every single week playing Donald Trump in part of the culture for like literally a cast member forever and never.
He won an Emmy.
He won an Emmy. Yeah, that's right. He won an Emmy.
As like a supporting actor. That's how much a part of the show he was.
Fucking crazy. Like, this is but he in this film he's playing a very despicable human being, and he's doing it with like mustache twirling sense of charm that you can really buy. I mean, like there's that moment where he is trying to get away to go to the romantic dinner at Jane's house, and which by the way, like Agnes doesn't help herself anyway when like he picks up his son from like the airport to go over there, and it's like, okay, yeah, I know you want me to get home to be with fucko kid, but like my children are all here together, like, and they're at my wife's house. Like, I want to be with my kids. I'm going to be with my kids. Like, Jake, you know, it's justifiable to go be with those kids and not have to leave. But when like Pedro holds his hand, and it's like you really know that he's like realizing, oh, these are like the stakes of rocking the boat here at this house, and it's like, yeah, but you're the one who initiated a lot of this, bro, and like have been twisting the narrative to like get her to come on board, and now you're gonna have a conscience about this also. Like, just make up some bullshit in the office. Just say, yeah, I gotta like go out with a client or something. And then you're over there by 7 o'clock. Like, he makes it way too hard on himself to like kind of sneak around. And so then you kind of wonder, does he really want to commit to that even as well? Does he want to commit to Meryl? Does he want to? He definitely doesn't want to commit to Agnes anymore. And by the end, he kind of gets, because he doesn't commit to anything, he gets nothing. And it would be interesting to see,
where does his life go after this.
That is a fundamentally really good question to ask. Like, what happens to Jake? Because like, clearly his 3 kids are fucked up and they're going to side with their mom.
I think he goes into an absolute tailspin, applies for the internship in the intern, and doesn't get it.
Oh, and wow. De Niro gets it.
Yeah.
Instead of him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because I bet you like his references are nobody, and he probably doesn't know how to work the video.
What is he, a lawyer?
Yeah, because like the Skype video call is a big part of this film, and then it's also how De Niro sets up the little video at the beginning of the intern. So he probably said some inappropriate stuff.
Hell of a move going for that laptop maneuver there.
Yeah.
Also, why did they stay on the call?
What do you mean?
Like, why were they like, okay, I'm going to go do something. Stay on the call for 15 minutes. I'll be back. Why didn't they just hang up and call each other back?
Well, I just thought he went to the other room to grab something.
The movie wouldn't have happened is the answer, I guess. But
they both went to another room. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It was odd.
Yeah, it is odd.
But again, odd people that populate these movies.
But also, Jay, you know what? A scene like that, it's just complicated.
It is. There's a lot of complications. I would say broadly, this movie is not terribly complicated. There seems to really just be one thing going on. But when you really dig into
that one thing's pretty goddamn complicated.
World and this family, those children are exceptionally complicated. Those children,
they need therapy. Yeah,
they need to go. Yeah, they need to go on some kind of sabbatical for sure. They need to eat, play, love it out.
Now I know that she's building the kitchen, and we've talked about like how the logistics of that kitchen suck. Like, from where it's going to be in the house and everything. But the kitchen that we do see in the film, this is the kitchen, I think, of the Nancy Meyers movies.
You think so?
This is the mecca of kitchens.
Well, that's why she's got to get rid of it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any. It's like, so what's her central driving point to meet Seymour? Well, she has a kitchen, but she wants a kitchen.
I mean, you can justify it only in that she is a chef. So you can understand why maybe she would want like a super kitchen.
Do you think she's also trying to remodel the kitchen to be a version of what she wants, since that house was both theirs and Jake's, and she cooked a lot of meals in those locations?
I was thinking about that too, in terms of like, is this weirdly like a metaphor for Jane kind of being like
moving on?
Yeah.
Or
for
just,
rebuilding herself in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because it seems like she put herself a lot in her work. And so for her to basically have the kitchen and then her bedroom up top, it weirdly does make her house a servant's quarter, which is kind of crazy. But it also, that's like her life at that point.
The only way for her to move on is to let someone in her kitchen.
Jay.
Wow.
That's so profound.
It's pretty heavy stuff.
And also,
and then especially if it's a man as bland as Adam Schaefer.
Do you think so? You're not a fan of Martin in the film? You think he's bland?
No, not yeah. I don't particularly like him in this. I think the character is poorly written to begin with, but I just love Steve Martin so much, and he hasn't been in a good movie in like
Well, this is a good movie.
25 years other than this, or he hasn't given a great performance in since what, like Bowfinger, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like he's
And he's basically retired now, except for Only Murders, and he's
well,
said he is fully retiring after that, right?
well, and then banjo music.
He's a mean banjo player.
No, I'm not. I'm not lying
No,
about
I
it.
know about
Yeah.
his banjo thing.
Yeah,
Which
I mean,
is
he
part of the whole production of this. I don't know if you read about that too.
no,
I don't know
Kevin,
about
Didn't know
that.
that.
go into it
About
yeah.
how like they had to film all of Steve Martin's scenes first because he was going to go on his own little solo banjo tour
God, I
during the
love that.
summer. So there you go.
You know where he learned the banjo?
Where, Jay?
The Muppet movie from Kermit.
Oh,
Wow.
please tell me that's
Yeah.
real and you're not just bullshitting me right now.
No, remember at the beginning of Muppet movie, Kermit plays the banjo in the swamp.
Yes, I remember that.
His performance in the Muppet movie is one of the all-time greats.
He is
so
great
funny in the
movie.
Muppet movie.
I just never know where you're gonna go sometimes with this shit because sometimes it can be really sincere and other times it's like
Because sometimes it can be like, "Whoa, that's a really interesting fact," and other
yeah,
times
exactly.
it's
And the
like,
other
"Hey,
times it's like
Did you
please
sell it the right way?
shut
Yeah.
up forever."
yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit. And I'm like, what's going on here? But no, Jay, that was very sincere. I appreciate you there. Anything else you guys want to mention? Last second thoughts? We've kind of covered it.
What's your favorite Meryl?
Ooh,
That's a
Kevin.
big question.
Well, Kevin,
My
you're
favorite.
you're free from the like the shackles of talking about Meryl on your show and not being able to reveal things anymore, right? You're done talking about
Sure.
her,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Yeah.
Which was actually very funny because like I recorded that last episode with the post like a few weeks ago and I was like, well, that's it. I'm done talking about Meryl. And
Never
now,
gonna
like,
do it
here I
again.
am. Just being like, oh, okay. Yeah, talked about her 17 times on the show for all
Did you
her
really?
Best Actress
Oh, that's right.
nominations.
She's nominated. Well, she's been nominated 21
She's
times.
been nominated 21 times, so 4 in supporting,
So
17 in lead.
So she's
Yeah.
one. So she's won. So she's 2 of 17 in lead, but she's 1 of 4 in supporting.
Yes.
She should probably go supporting more. She probably would.
You should do composers and talk about John Williams like 55 times.
Yeah.
Sometimes
All
literally
those
within
Star
the
Wars
same.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to hear Kevin talk about Rise of Skywalker and have to have to
Yeah,
like,
the
justify
Dial of
it.
Destiny too.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, it's been a terrible run. And was he not nominated for Fablemans, or he got in for Fablemans, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you got
did.
nominated.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I was stupid me
But
for even questioning.
To bring
that.
it
I'm sorry.
back, my favorite
Yes.
Meryl is Bridges of Madison County. That's
Jay?
the one.
I was going Bridges as well.
Wow.
I
Look
love
at us.
Bridges.
Guys,
We going 3 for 3?
it's Bridges.
You coward.
Ugh,
You're a
God.
coward.
thank you.
But no, it's the hey. Sometimes when it's the correct answer, it's the correct.
If it's
answer.
not Bridges, it's Prada for me because I've seen
You've
that
seen it so many
performance
times.
6,000 times. Yeah.
I love her in
Yeah.
Doubt. I think she's so good in Doubt.
Yeah.
I
That
say
think
whole
something-
run of
don't really
Devil
care
Wears
for
Prada, Doubt, Julie and Julia, like it's
she's
pretty
in a
great.
good era. She's in a good
Yeah.
run at this point.
Mhm.
Like this, it's
Yeah.
complicated too. It's like,
Yeah.
like her, she's very comfortable in the 2000s at this point. Like but then it's the 2010s when it starts getting a little bit bumpy in terms of stuff like,
Yes.
I mean,
Iron Lady, August Osage County, Florence Foster Jenkins,
Jenkins.
Into the Woods. What a time. Yes.
I mean, Jay and I do like the Post. I like the Post.
Post is the best of those.
I think she's really good in the Post.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm just trying to look real quick before everybody gets mad at me.
I'll defend Ricky in the Flash.
Oh, you will?
It's good.
Yeah.
I mean,
like her in it.
I like her in. I mean, like Bridges is great. I think she's great in Adaptation.
So
And
good.
in the
Yes.
Hours, that 2002 years,
Mhm.
incredible stuff.
Oh,
Even
I forgot she was in Mary Poppins Returns.
she's fun
As
in that.
what? Topsy, I think.
Yeah, her name's
Cousin
Topsy.
Topsy.
Mhm.
She's fun she's really good in a movie that I think is like interesting but not as good as the original in The Manchurian Candidate. Like, I think she's really good in that movie as well.
Man, she hasn't been in a movie since Don't Look Up.
Yeah, she hasn't been in a movie since Don't Look Up, and I don't.
Yeah, it's upsetting.
Great one to go out on.
I don't know if she's gonna make something. Like,
Ever again?
I think she might pull a Martin, and I think that TV show might be the end of it.
What instrument do you think she'll take up?
What? Saxophone. No. I don't know. I just don't. I mean, what does she have to prove?
Exactly.
Well, that's true, but what does anybody have to prove?
Well, I don't know. Like, I think at a certain point, she just wants to.
She's coasting.
She's coasting. She gets
hanging out with Martin Short, and doesn't have to do anything too difficult anymore.
I'm loved her.
She wants to challenge herself too, but
I loved her in the what was the? Oh God, the Soderbergh film. She did. Let Them All Talk.
Oh yeah, yes. She was great in that.
Oh, she's great in that.
I think she should do like a counterpart to Jiminy Glick, like a female Jiminy Glick. She'd be good at that.
I hate you so much.
Jiminy Glick is so funny.
She can do a voice. So
she sure can. She loves doing a voice.
What's y'all's least favorite, Meryl? Just like not like you go performance. You don't have to just.
I'm looking at her filmography here. I think my least favorite is
Out of Africa is pretty bad.
Higgledy Piggledy Pop or There Must Be More to Life, in which she played Jenny.
You just picked the random title and
I just went with the weirdest one.
Weirdest one. Good job.
I hate Florence Foster Jenkins. I will say I abhor that.
It
movie.
Is bottom tier. Yeah.
I also
don't really love her and Don't Look Up, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's very nobody really survives that film except Cate Blanchett.
Yeah, I guess.
But like, it's only because she's in there like 5 minutes. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think she's. Out of Africa is the movie for me. Like, just a. She couldn't even save
multiple times, and
I feel so bad for you. Like,
hold.
Sometimes I because I know you've gone on this journey twice for yourself, and there are the movies like in Out of Africa where you've had to watch it a couple of times.
Yeah, or Cimarron.
Cimarron, or just. I bet you had to watch Florence Foster maybe a couple, like, you know, for the year and then for her performance.
Yep. Oh
yeah. I do not envy, you know, you when it comes to like certain years where I'm like, oh, Kevin had a rough week watching those movies. Like when you had
1984, Save the Farm.
Yeah.
Did y'all see The Giver?
Oh,
never checked that one out.
Did you guys get forced to read that in high school?
I liked that book.
Yeah.
Did you like that book?
Yeah. Everybody's seeing stuff in black and white. It's like Pleasantville.
Oh, Pleasantville. Now that's a good movie.
Same deal.
Yeah.
People seeing color.
I don't think she's bad though in Into the Woods. I think there's a lot of other problems in that movie, but I think she's good in it.
She's having fun. She loves to sing.
Yeah,
she does. She's in her singing era.
She's in her. Yeah. Oh, she's very. Oh, The Prom. That's a movie I fucking hate. Golly.
The Laundromat.
Yeah, that's
Laundromat.
The Laundromat. I remember watching that.
That one was tricky.
I remember watching that on the plane back home from my honeymoon, and I remember sitting on the plane going, can I jump out of the plane right now? It was I felt truly one of the more like head scratching, weird, very offensive movies I've seen in a while. And it's made by someone I love. I love Steven Soderbergh. And
I'm going to call that one Lesser Soderbergh.
You think? He's got 2 coming out next year, buddy.
Yeah, the horror one, right? And then this new like
Allied meets Tinker Tailor.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
The horror one is supposed to be good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Kate and it's Fassbender. Mm-hmm. Pierce Brosnan.
Hot.
Looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Count me in. It kind of like gives Haywire vibes. Did you guys ever see Haywire?
Yeah, Haywire rules.
No.
Haywire. You never saw Haywire?
I've seen every Soderbergh, right? Come on.
Yeah, we've seen. Yeah, that's right. We've seen all the Soderberghs, but it's really good. All right. Anything else about It's Complicated before we get out of here?
No, successful tangent though.
Successful
Great work,
tangent.
great work, all.
Good job. All right, Jay,
Yeah,
you doing all right?
I'm doing great. This is a fun little film. Again, odd,
Okay.
in the same way that all of these movies are pretty odd.
Jay, before we get out of here, we're going to test your award season knowledge based on the film we just reviewed. It's Complicated. In a segment we like to call "It's an Honor to Get Nominated." Jay, you've been tricked up a little bit by Nancy.
Yeah, can't pin her down.
Can't pin her down. Was It's Complicated nominated for any Academy Awards?
I remember this getting a super tepid response and honestly not being taken that seriously.
Ooh.
So, and honestly, I think this might be What Women Want, I think has kind of been disregarded purposefully. I feel like this one has just kind of drifted away for a lot of people. And I think part of that is because it probably didn't get much awards attention. I'm going to say not even Meryl could get a nom for this bad boy. No nominations.
Kevin, you want to tell him if he's right or wrong?
You are correct, Jay.
Let's
Good
go.
job. Good job, Jay. Now,
But it did get other nominations other than Oscars.
that is correct. Jay, this was nominated by your favorite award show, the Golden Globes.
The Kids' Choice Awards?
Nope, the Golden Globes. It was nominated in 3 categories at the Golden Globes. Would you like to tell me what 3 categories it was nominated for?
I mean, I'm going to guess Meryl.
Yep. Actress
I'm
in a
going to
musical or
guess
comedy?
I'm going to guess Baldwin.
No Baldwin.
No, Martin.
No Martin.
So no more acting.
Nope.
Man. Best musical or comedy movie?
Yes, that is correct. Best picture.
Okay.
Musical or comedy.
And oh my God. What the heck else would this have been nominated for? Not Nancy. Nancy?
Why not? Why not,
For
Nancy?
Oh, for writing.
best screenplay.
Okay, writing. I was like, director. That's bizarre. No. Forgot
What
about
a-
screenplay.
Good for the Globes. Honestly, good for the Globes. Nominating Nancy. Best screenplay nominees that year were Quentin Tarantino for Inglourious Basterds. They combine it both, original and adapted, Jay.
Okay.
Tarantino and Inglourious Basterds. Mark Bold, The Hurt Locker. Neil Blomkamp and Terry Thatchell for District 9.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy Meyers for It's Complicated. And Sheldon Turner and Jason Reitman won for Up in the Air.
That is an eclectic bunch there.
Very much so. I kind of like it.
I think this is probably one of her weaker screenplays, but that's fine.
I think well,
Are
then
the
you look
Globes back? It seems like they're back.
seems
Like
like
people
Kevin,
seem to be taking them very seriously again.
Kevin,
They're
thoughts on
kind
the
of back.
Globes? I mean, they've done pretty well for themselves.
Yeah, they're trying to build back up. I'll say that. I don't know if they're fully there, but
Who's hosting?
Nikki Glazer.
Nikki Glazer.
Oh, the roast master.
Yeah. I don't like that the Globes have gone to 6 nominees in their categories. I feel like that's
Very critics'
that's
choice.
weird.
yeah, I feel it's very critics' choice, very much
It's
like
more celebrities in the room.
exactly.
Invited to the party. Yeah.
Everybody's invited. Everybody, it feels very participation trophy. I like
Selena's
just
definitely getting nominated there.
well, she did get nominated. Globes
did.
are already
Yeah.
out.
Oh, they're
buddy.
out. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Dude,
At
that
least
was,
you know-
that was like last
at least,
week.
At least all the listeners know I'm not faking it.
Yeah, exactly. Would you guys have put this in any category at the Oscars? Kevin, I mean, obviously, the beloved Best Actress category. I mean, Meryl is nominated.
Right.
She is nominated for Julie and Julia, which she is absolutely fantastic in. Julie
She's
and
wonderful in, and her chemistry with Stanley Tucci is some of the best in her career.
Well, supporting actor is rough outside of Christoph Waltz, and I would have nominated
It is.
Stanley Tucci
Yeah.
for Julie Julia, like,
And not
straight-
the Lovely Bones. Yeah.
easily, like easily would have nominated. But like, would you guys put this in other? It's Complicated in other categories.
I mean, you got to always give them production design. Always.
I would say that. I would say it's very meticulous, even if maybe we can, disagree about the dimensions of the house and whatnot. Just the kitchen island and the pots of the books and the whole bakery set.
Well,
yeah.
Technically, Kevin, we're nitpicking an existing property or like existing piece of that house that hasn't been built yet. As to Jay's point,
Right.
I think. So,
yeah.
If we put it just out there for the house that she already has, she's got a great
true.
house.
Yeah.
Best art direction, because it wasn't production design.
Sure.
Yet. The winner was Avatar from James Cameron. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, 9, Sherlock Holmes, and The Young Victoria. I think we could kick out a couple, something there.
Those aren't bad.
Yeah. I'd put Nancy in there, though.
I'll put her in. Come on.
I think I'd kick out The Young Victoria.
I would kick out Victoria. Sorry.
Get out of here, Vicky.
Get out of here.
I would say if the makeup was around, right?
Yes, makeup category exists.
Lake Bell's tan.
Yeah, and the
tattoo. Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
just terrifying.
Meryl. Meryl. Yeah, I mean, like makeup. If like they had to make Meryl look older in those scenes when she goes to the plastic surgeon, that
was an odd scene.
That was a very odd scene too. That felt like a Curb Your Enthusiasm scene or something. Somebody just like
she literally runs out.
Yeah, she's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, it felt very weird. It's like, what did you think was going to happen in there? Like,
I mean, it was very weird when he's like, oh, we're going to do this, this, and this. You'll only have a headache for
3 to 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah. Original screenplay. These were the nominees. So this was Mark Bold for The Hurt Locker 1, then Inglourious Bastards, The Messenger, A Serious Man, and Up.
Never got around to The Messenger, I must admit.
I was waiting for him to make a pun or something there, Kevin. You never know.
I would pick all of those other ones though ahead of It's Complicated.
Yeah,
okay. I would kick Up out, but Kevin, or you would keep
kick
it all?
What?
I would kick out Up.
Oh, yeah.
Up is half of a
Not
great
the biggest
screenplay.
fan of that either.
No.
Yeah.
I don't like Pete Docter.
Wow.
No, not a Pete Docter guy.
It's personal with you. Okay.
He's only got one good movie.
Well, you know, I feel similarly, Ryan.
Yeah, I think he peaked with Monsters Inc. and he's been trying to. He's all idea and no execution, in my opinion. And now he fucking runs Pixar, and it drives me nuts because he's all just about ideas, and I don't think he has like the emotional core or innovation of somebody like Brad Bird or Stanton or the other.
Well, he's just obsessed with bureaucracy. He's obsessed with it.
He really is, and it just fucking. It's like
actually, that is true.
I just want to fucking cry in these movies and feel things. I don't want to like have to think too much, but then I also want to be entertained. It feels like a fucking math equation.
My problem with him is that it desperately feels like he's trying to mask making a grown up movie.
Yeah.
In like kids' skin.
Yeah. I don't know. But I can't do Inside Out. Soul was soul crushing, and Up is just like it's got great 10 minutes. And I know everybody says that and they're absolutely right. But then everything else is like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Great score, beautiful score. Yep.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, especially like Fantastic Mr. Fox that year, and that's the superior animated film in my opinion. Or even Coraline.
Definitely Coraline. Yeah.
God, Pete Docter probably has $1 billion. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's probably like those two assholes. They can say whatever they want. I'm swimming in money.
He's pissed, and he's a listener.
Yeah. but you guys wouldn't put her in actress.
No, I think she's nominated for the right film.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I might consider Baldwin because that supporting actor race is bleak.
Jay,
that's a tough list.
Yeah. Damon and Invictus. Talk about like a performance that doesn't exist. The Messenger is a movie that doesn't exist. Plumber in The Last Station is pretty bad.
Fine.
Tucci and Tucci and Lovely Bones. That's a rough performance and a rough.
He has said he hates that. He
Yeah,
got nominated for that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like of all the rich movies in his filmography and all the things, and it's like, yeah, I was nominated for playing a creepy pedophile.
That's his only Oscar nom?
That is his only Oscar nomination.
That is rough.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like an all-time winner in the category. So it's and of the two Christoph Waltz wins, it's the superior win easily in Inglourious Basterds, a movie that rules. And when we did the 2009 retrospective earlier this year, we gave Waltz the Oscar and we gave Inglourious Basterds Best Picture. I do remember that. So
we did. I was there.
Yeah, you were there. Yeah. Thank you, Jay. Kevin Jacobsen.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for coming on and doing this silly show with us once again.
This was fun. This was loose. This was not as serious as Carol.
It was not complicated.
Yeah, it was good. I had a great time. Thanks
Kevin,
so
could you tell the listeners where they can find you and all your amazing work out there? And can you give them a recommendation? Something that maybe is out there or something that you maybe rewatch that you just want everybody to check out right now?
Yeah. Well, Kevin_Jacobsen on Twitter and Instagram. Kevin Jacobsen without the underscore on Letterboxd and Blue Sky now. And you can also listen to my show, And the Runner-Up Is, where we discuss Best Actress races every year, chronological order. As of this recording, I'm already at the late 2010s, so sadly coming to an end soon. Excited to figure out what's next, but many, many hours to catch up on. If you haven't already, Ryan was on the 1971 episode, which was great. Very detailed, a great deep dive there. Jay, like we said earlier, had you on for 96. Again, shout out Marvin's Room. So yeah, if you like those, if you like Director Watch, I should say, those are kind of some entry points for you. But something I've been watching lately, actually, that I wanted to recommend, not to everybody, to be fair, but I've been following along with Blank Check on their David Lynch series that they're doing right now, which will have ended, I assume, by the time this episode comes out. But they're talking David Lynch. He's one of my guys, one of my top directors of all time. And it's been very fun revisiting all of his movies, and specifically Twin Peaks: The Return, which I've been watching all this month.
The best.
Which, again, I mean, speaking of complicated, like that's so much to unpack there. But like when it aired in 2017, I was like, not really vibing with it as much. And then just watching it again, I just somehow, like, there's something about revisiting a David Lynch film or show that it just kind of opens things up once you sort of know more about what he's going for. And it's just pretty mind-blowing, especially part 8, which is the big atomic bomb episode.
Lynch.
Be a good companion piece to Oppenheimer, actually. But yeah, it's just an incredible piece of work.
Lynch, one of my guys. One of my proudest moments was getting Ryan into David Lynch. And
I was always nervous about watching his films and stuff. I don't know why I had this weird sort of, like, I don't want to, he's eclectic, very different tastes, and very out
very
there,
dark,
very dark. But then, we watched him for the series, and thank you, Jay, again, because that was one of the best, like, 2 months I've had in the last couple of years watching his movies, because those movies are so rich and detailed,
Yeah, they're great, and The Return is great. My history with Twin Peaks is kind of similar to yours, Kevin, which is, except with the original series. The original series I tried watching twice, and I was like, I can't really get into this at all. And then I tried it a third time. Like, I would go like 3 episodes, and I'd be like, eh. And I watched it again, and for some reason, something just clicked. And I was like, okay, I understand what he's going for now. And then The Return, I was hooked right away. That was like, that might be one of the best things that's come out in the last 10 years. I think it's so good. And episode 8 is one of the greatest episodes of television ever. Great recommendation. Go check that out. It's big ask. It's what, 20 episodes?
It's 18 episodes.
18 episodes?
Yeah. And it is a TV show. It is not a movie.
Oh, absolutely. That's ludicrous. Yeah.
Yes.
I love Twin Peaks: The Return. I have to do a rewatch. It's been a couple of years since I watched it, and I know my wife has been wanting to watch Twin Peaks and Blank
My
Check.
wife loves Twin Peaks, hates The Return.
She hates The Return. Okay.
Yeah.
She hasn't seen it. She hasn't seen the original stuff in a while. She never saw The Return, so it would be a good chance potentially down the road to watch it. So, Jay, same drill, buddy.
Yeah. Twitter at Mr. J Ledbetter, Letterboxd J Ledbetter. Thing that I've watched recently, I watched Baby Girl.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say I loved it, but I liked it. It's a, pretty sexy little flick that's talking about, gender politics, both professionally and intimately. And I think it's pretty stylish. Antonio Banderas and Nicole Kidman, I think, are both awesome. Harris Dickinson also great as well. Great performances. Nicole Kidman, she'll just do stuff that you wouldn't expect somebody as famous as her to do. And I love that about her. She's, I think, one of our great performers. It's a good flick. And not in my, top 20 of the year or whatever, but it's good and people should check it out. Pretty subversive movie.
I like Baby Girl a lot. I think Kidman's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Good companion piece. Not nearly on the same level as Eyes Wide Shut, but she's making an erotic thriller at Christmas. But it is I think it's like 2/3 of that movie are absolutely fascinating. I think it wraps up a little too quick in the final act, but I think
HR needed to get involved.
Probably so. But it's a much better film than what the director did before, which was Bodies, 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 a movie that I couldn't get on its wavelength. But I mean, I know a lot of people.
Baby Girl, though, nice lead in to The Intern.
Yeah, two different vibes.
Different, but the same.
Oh, you think?
It's all about getting closer to your boss as an intern. That's what both of those movies are about.
I think they go at it different ways, don't you think?
I agree.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay.
They're companion pieces.
Kevin, have you seen
No, I've been waiting to see it in a theater.
Okay. As you should, because It's a hell of a time. And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd at Ryan McQuade 77. Oh, and Blue Sky at Ryan McQuade 77. If you like podcasts, we have the main show that's every Monday released out there for you guys. iTunes, Spotify, 5-star reviews, greatly appreciate it. While you're over on the website, please sign up for the newsletter. It's the best place to get all the news, reviews, interviews, podcasts sent to you all in one place. Speaking of a film that I think everyone should see in a theater if it's near you, also features a incredible actress performance. And it's also made by one of our great directors that we have working today, and that is Mike Leigh, for a little film called Hard Truths. And it is in my top 20 of the year. Marion Jean-Baptiste is absolutely incredible in this movie. It's like 95 minutes, but you get fully encapsulated into this woman's world, this very angry, depressed woman who is kind of going through the motions of life, and at the same time her sister and her are trying to essentially reconnect or stay connected. And I think it's beautiful, and I think the last 15 minutes are absolutely devastating. And I was thinking about Mike Leigh. He makes kind of perfect films that just kind of stick with you and stick to your ribs, and just kind of you're thinking about them all year long. I saw this movie back in New York. I rewatched portions of it recently because everybody's been celebrating this performance so much, and I was just like, I kind of want to go back and watch a couple of scenes, and I did. And I just think that Marion Jean-Baptiste delivers one of the performances of the year, and I hope that she gets nominated, and I hope Kevin's talking about her on a show down the road because she's insanely great in this film.
Another person Kevin and I already talked about.
I know. You guys talked about her on 96, right?
Yeah. Secrets and Lies.
Secrets and Lies. Lies and Secrets.
Secrets and Lies, Hard Truths. They've really got a thing going there.
Exactly. Have you either one of you guys seen it?
No, it's my number one most anticipated.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin, I think you're gonna.
I'm sure I'm gonna love it. I love my Mike Leigh women.
Oh, there's no. I mean, he's somebody I think we should do as a series down the road, Jay. I think Mike Lee's got some really.
Oh yeah, that'd
be
a lot of fun. And I got some blind spots, so that'd be very, very fun.
Yeah, I rewatched because it's 25th anniversary this year. A couple months ago, I rewatched Topsy Turvy, and I was like, oh my god, this movie is incredible, and his attention to detail is very meticulous as well, sort of tying back into Nancy as well with her attention to detail. So Hard Truths, go see it, incredible film. Next week's show, we will be back. We will be wrapping up our Nancy Meyers movie series. We're talking The Intern next week. Talking Bobby D and Anne Hathaway next week. I'm super excited I'm excited to talk about the film. I'm sad that the series is ending. But we will have the great Emma Sasek on with us for that episode to wrap up that series. Super excited to have Emma back on. So thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time.